When you reach 70, you start seeing life differently. You stop chasing what doesn't matter and start noticing what always did. I've lived through success and failure, love and loss, joy and regret. And if I could go back, just once, and speak to my 20-year-old self, I wouldn't tell him how to get rich or how to be famous. I'd tell him what really matters, the truths I learned too late, the things I wish someone had told me when I still had time to change them. So if you're young or still searching for meaning, listen carefully. These are the 7 truths about life I wish I had known sooner. They might just save you decades of confusion and help you live with a peace most people never find. Truth 1. Time is the most precious currency you'll ever have. When I was young, I thought time was endless. I used to say, I'll do it tomorrow. I have time. But the truth is, time is not something you own. It's something you borrow. Every sunrise is a coin you spend. You can't save it. You can't store it. And once it's gone, it never comes back. I remember when I was 25, I worked endless hours chasing success. I wanted a bigger house, a better car, more recognition. I thought that's what life was about. And in that chase, I missed dinners with my family. I missed my children's laughter. I missed the quiet mornings with my wife over a cup of coffee. Back then, I thought I was doing it for them. But now, I realize I was trading the moments that mattered for things that never lasted. You see, money lost can be earned again, but time lost is gone forever. I once met an old friend after many years. We sat together and laughed about our youth, the dreams we had, the promises we made. Then, suddenly, he went quiet, looked out the window, and said, "You know, I was so busy trying to build my future that I forgot to live my present." That sentence hit me like a wave, because that's what most of us do. We delay living, waiting for a perfect tomorrow. We say, I'll be happy when I get that job, that house, that relationship. But happiness doesn't wait for you in the future. It exists right now, in the small moments. A walk in the park, a good conversation, a deep breath after a long day. If I could go back, I'd spend less time worrying about the next 10 years and more time enjoying the next 10 minutes. So here's what I've learned. Don't let time slip through your fingers while you're busy holding on to things that don't matter. Spend your time on people, on memories, on purpose. Because when you reach the end, you won't remember the money you made. You'll remember the moments that made you. Every second you're alive is a miracle you can never get back. Treat it that way. Truth 2. The hardest prison is the one you build in your mind. When I was younger, I used to think the biggest limitations in life came from the world. Lack of opportunity, lack of luck, lack of help. But as I grew older, I realized something shocking. The real prison isn't out there. It's in here, in your own mind. Most people live their whole lives trapped by invisible walls made of fear, doubt, and what-ifs. I remember when I was 30, I wanted to start something of my own. A small business, an idea that had been burning inside me for years. But every time I was about to begin, that voice came back. What if you fail? What will people say? You're not good enough. And so I waited. I waited for the perfect moment, the perfect confidence, the perfect plan. And in that waiting, years passed. The truth is, the perfect moment never comes. There's no perfect confidence, no perfect conditions. The fear doesn't disappear. You just learn to walk through it. Fear is like a shadow. It grows bigger when you turn your back to it. But when you face it, it shrinks. One day, after losing a friend who was only 42, I realized something that changed my life. We all die eventually, but not everyone lives. And I was tired of being alive but not living. So I started anyway, scared, unsure, unprepared. And you know what? I failed many times. But each failure taught me something no success ever could. That freedom isn't the absence of fear. It's the courage to act despite it. There's a story I love about an elephant tied to a small wooden stake. When it was young, that rope kept it from escaping. As it grew, it became strong enough to break free any time. But it never tried. Why? Because it believed it couldn't. That's how many of us live, tied not by ropes, but by beliefs we never question. I'm not smart enough. I'm too old. It's too late. But those are just ropes in your mind. When you stop believing in your limits, you start discovering your power. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. But every great story, every success, every dream that came true began with someone who was afraid, but did it anyway. So if you're waiting for fear to disappear before you take your first step, you'll wait your whole life. Step forward anyway. You can't change your life until you first change your mind. Don't be a prisoner of what if. Be a warrior of what can be. Truth 3. People come and go. And that's okay. When you've lived long enough, you start to see one of life's quiet truths. Not everyone who starts with you will stay with you. When I was young, I thought real friends, true love, and family would always be the same. I believed that people who once said, "I'll always be there," would mean it forever. But life has a different rhythm. People change. Circumstances shift. Sometimes you outgrow others, and sometimes they outgrow you. And sometimes the universe just gently pulls you apart, not to punish you, but to make room for who you're becoming. I used to fight that change. I used to think losing someone meant I had failed. But I later learned something beautiful. Every person is a chapter, not the whole book. They come to teach, to challenge, to love, or sometimes to break you open, so something new can grow. When a friend drifts away, don't fill your mind with worry, because worrying never makes a problem better. It just drains your energy and keeps you stuck in the past. Instead, focus on what's still in your control, the next steps of your journey, because life rewards those who move forward with faith, not fear. As you get older, you realize, the less you care about what others think, the more peaceful your heart becomes. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop chasing people who no longer match your growth. And you begin to understand, not everyone deserves access to your peace. Spending time alone, without your phone or distraction, teaches you something powerful. How to be comfortable with yourself. That silence, that boredom we often run from, is where your soul speaks the loudest. It's in those quiet moments you find clarity about who you are and who you're becoming. You also learn to choose your habits and vices carefully, because over time, they shape your life more than people do. The older you get, the harder they are to break. So be wise with what you repeat every day. You'll meet new people. Some will inspire you. Others will test you. But every encounter, every heartbreak, every goodbye is shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, more compassionate. And remember this, you will always have to let go of something. a person, a season, or a version of yourself, before you can rise to the next level. That's not loss. That's transformation. So don't hold on to what's leaving. Bless it, thank it, and move forward. Because the truth is, every ending is a quiet beginning in disguise. And when you finally accept that, life stops feeling like a series of losses and starts feeling like a continuous journey of becoming. Truth 4, discipline. Hurts. But regret hurts more. When I was younger, I wanted results without effort. I wanted success without the grind, wisdom without the scars, strength without the struggle. But life doesn't work that way. There's always a price, and you either pay it with discipline now or regret later. See, discipline feels uncomfortable because it demands that you rise above your feelings. You don't feel like getting up early, but you do it anyway. You don't feel like reading, studying, or exercising, but you push through. And every time you do, you're telling your mind, I'm in control here, not you. Most people never understand this. They think success is about motivation. But no, motivation fades. Discipline is what carries you when motivation dies. I used to think that discipline made life harder, more rigid. But one day I realized the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Regret is silent but heavy. It sits in your chest when you realize you could have tried harder. It whispers in your mind when you see someone living the life you once dreamed of. So, I started small. I began eating the frog, doing the most difficult task first thing in the morning. At first, it felt terrible. But slowly, I began to see a pattern. The days I practiced discipline were the days I felt proud, light, and alive. The days I avoided it were the ones I drowned in guilt and distraction. Your habits are the building blocks of your destiny. Choose them wisely, because with each small choice, you're either training your brain to rise or teaching it to quit. And your brain, it's like software. It upgrades every time you learn, every time you push beyond comfort. You see, the world teaches you to chase pleasure, but growth hides in discomfort. When you feel bored, restless, or challenged, that's the exact moment you're expanding. Learn to be bored without distraction. It's a superpower today. Because that stillness, that discomfort, it's your mind upgrading. And remember, no one is coming to save you. Mentors, books, and advice can guide you, but you have to do the work, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. In the end, discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. The freedom to look back and say, I gave it my all. The freedom to live without the poison of what if. So, my friend, when you're standing at the crossroads between comfort and challenge, choose the hard road. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only road that leads somewhere worth going. And years from now, when you look back, you won't remember how tired you were. You'll only remember that you didn't give up on yourself. Truth 5. The moment you stop caring what others think, you set yourself free. When I was younger, I lived for approval. Every choice I made was filtered through the question, what will people think? I'd hide my true thoughts, my dreams, even my failures, because I feared being judged. And for years, I was trapped in a cage built entirely out of other people's opinions. But here's the truth. I wish I learned sooner. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to think about you for long. They'll talk for a day, maybe two, and then they'll move on to the next thing. Yet, how many dreams die because someone feared a stranger's opinion? You can't live a peaceful life if you're constantly performing for an audience that doesn't even exist. The less you care about what others think, the more your own voice begins to matter. And when your voice matters, that's when you start to live with purpose. There's a saying I came to love. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And it's true. Most of our fear comes not from what's real, but from the stories we tell ourselves about how others might react. We replay fake conversations in our heads, imagining criticism that never comes. We silence ourselves before the world ever has the chance to. But here's what I have learned in 70 years. The people who truly matter will love you for your authenticity, not for your perfection. The rest? They're just passing characters in your story. When you stop chasing validation, something magical happens. You begin to act from love, not fear. You take risks. You speak your truth. You make art. You fail. You rise. And through it all, you become you. And listen, this isn't about arrogance or pride. It's about peace. It's about waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror, and being proud of the person staring back. I remember a younger man once asked me, "How do you stop caring what people think?" I told him, "The moment you realize they're not thinking about you as much as you think they are, you'll waste years trying to fit into a mold that was never made for you. But once you break that mold, once you live by your own rules, you'll finally breathe freely. Because freedom doesn't come from money or status. It comes from self-acceptance. When you no longer need applause to feel worthy. When your peace no longer depends on someone else's approval. That's when you truly begin to live." Truth 6. Your health and wealth are your real freedom. When you're young, you think freedom means doing whatever you want. Eating junk, staying up late, spending money like it grows on trees. But when you reach 70, you realize freedom means something very different. Freedom is waking up without pain. Freedom is not depending on anyone to pay your bills. Freedom is energy, both in your body and in your bank account. Let's start with health. Your body keeps the score of every decision you make, every cigarette, every night you traded sleep for scrolling. It all adds up. But so does every walk, every glass of water, every time you chose to rest instead of rush. The good news? It's never too late to start paying attention. The best investment you'll ever make isn't in the stock market. It's in your daily habits. Eat real food. Move your body every day. Sleep like it's your job. And most importantly, don't wait until something breaks to start caring. Your health isn't a luxury, it's your foundation. Without it, even the richest life feels poor. Now let's talk about money. Because yes, it matters. Not because money buys happiness, but because it buys peace of mind. A healthy relationship with money means one thing: control. Control over your time, your choices, and your future. Don't chase luxury. Chase security. Save before you spend. Avoid debt like it's a disease, because it is one. And remember, small habits build big wealth. Even $1 saved daily teaches discipline. And that discipline creates freedom later. A wise man once said, "Take care of your body like you'll live forever, and take care of your money like you might live only for today." Balance both, and you'll live light, with energy in your steps and peace in your heart. At 70, You realize you don't need more stuff. You need more strength. You don't need more luxury. You need more longevity. The real miracle of life isn't how long you live. It's how well you live. And that begins with taking care of what truly matters: your health, your habits, and your peace. Truth 7. Happiness is in simplicity and presence. When you're young, you chase more money, more success, more attention. You think happiness is something you'll reach once you finally arrive. But the truth, the one most people learn far too late, is that happiness has never been hiding at the finish line. It's been sitting quietly beside you all along, waiting for you to notice it. The happiest people aren't those who have everything. They're the ones who can sit with nothing and still feel full. They laugh with friends over simple meals. They notice the sun on their skin, the wind on their face, the sound of laughter, the warmth of someone's hand. These things don't cost anything, and yet they are priceless. When you simplify your life, you create space for peace to enter. You stop comparing. You stop rushing. You start living. Because joy doesn't need noise. It needs awareness. And presence is the highest form of wealth. Take a moment each day to pause, to truly see where you are. Breathe. Notice something beautiful. The way light falls through a window, or the rhythm of your own heartbeat. That's life. Real life, happening now. And one day, you'll realize those small, quiet moments were the big ones all along. So stop waiting for someday, start living today. Let go of the pressure to have it all figured out. Happiness isn't in the next thing. It's in this thing. The simple, the present, the enough. As the wise say, gratitude turns what we have into enough. When you understand that, you won't just find peace, you'll live in it. So there you have it. 7 truths that can take a lifetime to learn, but only a moment to understand. Life isn't a race. It's a journey of learning, unlearning, and becoming. You will fail. You will rise. You will lose things you thought you couldn't live without, and discover peace in the things you once ignored. Remember, be kind to yourself while you grow. Discipline will build your strength. Gratitude will build your peace and love. Love will build your legacy. If these lessons touched something inside you today, then don't let them fade. Write one truth that stood out to you in the comments. Reflect on it. Practice it. Because knowledge only changes you when you live it. And if you want to keep learning English while growing wiser, subscribe to our channel, where we learn language through life itself. Every story, every quote, every lesson is another step toward your best self. So take a deep breath, smile, and remember, the next chapter of your life begins with the words you speak today.